Hello guys and welcome to another MK Mobile character review, today featuring Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion, the one and only Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion. As usual guys, please note the date when this video has been recorded because a lot of things may have changed since then, and if you're not familiar with the matrix I'm using in order to evaluate characters, you can find it on the top right corner of the screen. So without any further ado, let us put Hanzo Hasashi to the test. Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion guys was released on the 28th of February 2018 with update 2.17, and his original price in the old store was 467 souls, and that's quite expensive. So let us check out why. His attack is 53,251, the 21st highest in the game and the 4th highest among the gold characters. The hit points are 103,776, the 23rd highest overall and the 6th highest in the gold league. The toughness is 37,800, the 28th highest in MK Mobile and the 10th highest among the gold characters, and the recovery is 49,140, which is the 11th highest in the game and, attention, the highest in the gold league. The power generation is just 100%, so for his stats, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion gets 18.2 out of 28 possible points. It's official! Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion has his own spear. It is called Shirei Ryu Spear, and to some people this is the best looking Scorpion spear. When it comes to my opinion, I would say so as well. What you need to know about the ability is, first, it can be blocked by the opponent, it has stun as debuff, which is always good for special 1. It can be cast from distance, however please keep in mind that the first 2 mini attacks will miss, and they're about 40% of the total damage of the ability. The special attack is not lethal, it consists of 3 mini hits and it has the single tap rectangle as minigame. When it comes to damage, the minimum damage of the special attack is 19,330, which is the 18th highest overall and the 3rd highest among the gold characters. The maximum damage is 36,902, the 22nd highest in MK Mobile and the 6th highest among the gold characters. Once again, the special attack can be blocked by the opponent, it has stun as debuff. It can be cast from distance, however the first 2 mini attacks will miss every time. It is not lethal, it consists of 3 mini attacks and it has the single tap rectangle as minigame. So for his special 1, Hanzo Hasashi gets 8.3 out of 13 possible points. Burning Assault, this is the name of special 2 of Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion, and quite honestly this is one of the best looking and at the same time one of the deadliest special 2s among all gold characters in the game. What you need to know about it is that, first, unfortunately it can be blocked by the opponent, it has fire as debuff, it can be cast from distance, it is lethal, it consists of 3 mini hits and it has 2 single tap rectangles as minigame. When it comes to damage, the minimum damage of the ability is 43,932, the 27th highest overall and the 7th highest in the gold league, and the maximum damage is 87,864, the 25th highest overall and the 5th highest among the gold characters. So let's check once again the properties of the ability. It can be blocked by the opponent, it has fire as debuff, it can be cast from distance, it is lethal, it consists of 3 mini hits and it has 2 single tap rectangles as minigames. So for his special 2, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion gets 12.7 out of 19 possible points. Probably guys, you won't be surprised if I tell you that the X-ray of Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion looks exactly the same way as every single other Scorpion in the game, except of course for MK11 Scorpion. It is called From Hell, probably referring to the infamous letter sent by Jack the Ripper to the police station. Who knows? What you need to know about this X-ray is that, first, it has Curse as debuff, which is very underwhelming, and second, it can be cast from distance, which is always good. When it comes to damage, the damage of the X-ray is 107,194, the 32nd highest overall and the 8th highest among the gold characters. Once again, the X-ray has Curse as debuff and it can be cast from distance. So for his X-ray, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion gets 2.9 out of 4 possible points, and the total amount of points he gets for his special attacks adds up to 24 out of 36 possible. I simply cannot stress enough, guys, how great Hanzo Hasashi basic attacks are. In fact, I think he probably has the best basic attacks among all gold characters, and he even performs better than most of the diamonds. First thing first, he's incredibly fast, but this isn't the best thing about his basic attacks. It is his chaining, which is impeccable. Look at the current game, guys. The enemies have zero chance of getting to me and zero chance to ever break my basic attacks, because Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion excels at chaining. It doesn't matter if you block or not, it is extremely hard to interrupt his combos, and this makes him very easy to play with. And to be honest, very enjoyable to play with at the same time. It doesn't matter if you have block breaking equipment or not, Hanzo still can punish the enemy without issues thanks to his incredible chaining. And on top of that, he adds damage over time effect on the opponent on every combo ender or even at some regular basic hits. Quite honestly, this is the biggest strength of this character, his amazing basic attacks. Actually, he's so good at this that it is really difficult to me to say, for example, if even MK11 Scorpion outperforms him here. Sure, you can argue that MK11 Scorpion is faster, but at the same time Hanzo has much better chaining. So, nothing else I can say about this. Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion gets a solid 9 out of 10 points for his basic attacks. Crimson Strikes. This is the name of Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion's passive, and trust me guys, I have a lot to say here. And considering that most of you watching this review like this character, well, you won't like this part of the review, because Hanzo's passive sucks, and that's the ugly truth. Actually, he's the greatest example that a character can be good even with a bad passive. Anyways, let's check the passive itself, and here it is what it does. I quote, 10% chance on basic attacks and 50% chance on combo enders to apply bleed. Bleed damage over time effects can stack. Martial artists have a chance for minus 50% power cost for special attacks against bleeding opponents. Now, let's take a look at the first part of his passive, the bleeding part. Well, it is very good on paper, but in reality, it is not something special at all, because the bleed lasts for 1 second. Seriously, you see the opponent's bleeding. Then you decide to press special 2 on your screen, and by that time the bleed is gone. It almost feels like Baraka's passive. Good thing is that Hanzo can also put the opponents on fire using his basic attacks, but again, the fire lasts for 1 or 2 seconds tops. And I'm not denying that even 2 seconds is something okay, especially if you are fighting special attacks evaders like Jade, but in general it just feels plainly underwhelming. After all, this Scorpion is a high tier gold character and he deserves better working passive. Like for example adding 2 more seconds to the bleed duration would be somehow a possible solution. Anyways, the reason why I believe the passive should be buffed is because in its current state, the first part of it cannot utilize the second part of it, as the enemies are not bleeding long enough for you to land special 1 or special 2 on time. And even if you assume that if you're fast enough you can do it with Hanzo, it is then sure that you cannot use it with any other martial artist on your team, because by the time you tag the martial artist in, the bleed will be gone. And that's unfortunate. So in a way, in order for any other martial artist on your team to take advantage of Hanzo's passive, they need to make the opponent bleed themselves, and after that eventually they will have chance for discounted special attacks. This is just way too much work. You don't need to do that, as there are many items in the game that reduce the power cost of special 2 by 50% and many others that reduce the power cost of all special attacks. And they don't give you chance to reduce it, it is guaranteed. With all that said guys, once again, this is a great passive on paper, but when it comes to execution and reality, it simply doesn't work at all. Quite honestly, it is not even worth checking how much percent is the actual chance to get this power cost reduction. But even if you assume that it is high, this is simply not good enough once again. I'm sorry, but I really think Hanzo's passive is a disappointment, so I'll rate it 13.5 out of 20 points, and this is the absolute best I could give. He is just a martial artist, so he gets 1 point for classes and 0 points for tagging attack. Well, we got to the final verdict. So, what can we say about this character, guys? Is he a good card? Is he a great card? Is he a bad card? Let's take a look at the bigger picture once again. He has very good stats for a gold character, great special attacks with high damage and very useful debuffs. He also has amazing basic attacks and unfortunately a disappointing passive, or at least in my eyes. As I already mentioned, he is an example of a character who can work even without the good passive. He is extremely fun to play and without a doubt one of the most destructive gold cards in MK Mobile. And this is why he will get 3 out of 3 entirely subjective points. He simply deserves them. In general, I really enjoy playing Hanzo Hasashi. I believe he's probably the best gold Scorpion fighter. If you're asking me which one is the best, Hanzo or Classic Scorpion, I cannot really tell. It all depends on the role. Do I need a fighter or do I need a support? If I need a fighter, I'll take Hanzo. If I need a support, I'll take Classic Scorpion. Anyways, with my 3 subjective points, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion is going to score 68.7 out of 102 possible, and we can label him as... How should we label him, guys? I was thinking a lot, and in the end I decided to label him as a very good character. You know, I really butchered him, giving him only 13.5 for his passive, and if I didn't do that, he would definitely score over 70. But I really think that the guys scoring over 70, such as for example Combat Cup Sonya, Combat Cup Johnny, they can be used just like Hanzo for main damage dealers in your team, but at the same time they have very useful passives. So in a way, every time when you play with them, you are thinking of their passives. Every time when you play Hanzo, you don't. I'm sorry, I really believe that his passive sucks. So once again, he's going to score 68.7 and he's going to rank 21st on our list, just above Boraicho and just below Shirei Ryu Takeda. Once again, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion final verdict is very good. So the question that arises is, should you put Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion as the opener of your team? And the answer is no, not really. I mean, he can be a serviceable starter, but there are better alternatives, and on top of that, most of the times when you're going to play with him, he will need certain items that are not very suitable for starters. That is why, please don't use him as an opener. Because of the nature of his passive, guys, it's really hard to tell which are the characters that he counters, but he certainly has some difficult matchups. And the first one is Assassin Jade. One will say, but he can still make her bleed without combo enders, and that's correct, but we already said that the duration of his bleed is about 1 or 2 seconds, so this cannot really hurt her a lot. The next hard matchup is MK11 Jade. You know, he cannot really hit her because she can evade and then counterattack, and then we all know what happens. And even if he somehow makes her bleed and puts her on fire, he doesn't want to do that because she will heal on it. And his biggest counter in the game, guys, the character that totally destroys Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion, this is Piercing Melina. You know, she gets 1 bar of power for each bleed applied on her, and Hanzo bleeds can stack. Seriously, if you see Piercing Melina, you have to be very, very careful. Okay guys, we got to the items. Now, because Hanzo Hasashi basic attacks are so good, I never use block breaking equipment on him, but I do believe that there is one block breaking equipment that he could use. But we'll get to that later. When it comes to the weapon, I always give him Rat Hammer to make sure that his special will be totally deadly. When it comes to the armor, I believe Shao Kahn's helmet is the way to go. It gives him critical hit chance, it gives him health, what else could you possibly want? And the accessory, guys. If you have Vial of Infinite Blood maxed, then I'll highly recommend to use it on Hanzo Hasashi, because first it gives him block breaking chance, which is not really that much needed, but it is still something, and the most important part, it gives him 50% chance to apply bleed on combo ender, which works perfectly fine with his passive. So in case you have Vial of Infinite Blood maxed, please give it to Hanzo. If you don't, then Bloody Voodoo will also work. Unfortunately for Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion, guys, there aren't a lot of martial artists with bleed. So if you're asking me which is the best team for him, I usually play him with 2 weak characters that can buff him in any possible way. For example, I can use Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion with Ninjutsu Scorpion and Cryomancer Sub-Zero, so he can get 30% attack and 30% hit points. I can also put him in a team with Cyrex and Classic Scorpion, because the other two guys have bleed, both of them, and of course Cyrox will increase the damage of his critical hits. Also, another possible team is 3 Scorpion team, which is Hanzo Hasashi, Spec Ops Scorpion or Strike Force Scorpion now, and Hellspawn Scorpion. This team also works, however you have to keep in mind that the more diamonds you use in your team with Hanzo, the tougher the opposition will get. Okay guys, Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion. What do you think of him? Do you like him? Do you dislike him? Please let me know in the comments. Once again, he scored 68.7 and we labeled him as a very good character. As usual guys, if you want to see more reviews, you can find the playlist on the top right corner of the screen. And if you want to know which is the next on-demand review coming in 2020, you can find the list in the description of this video. See you next time guys. Take care.
Die like the rest! Perfect!